What's up, guys? This is Mandala Sports. I am Mandala. Last night, the Cubs lost a really tough one, 5-4 in 11 innings against the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm still pretty bummed about that. We'll see how they do today, though. I came across this video of Mark DeRosa, former Cub, talking about the MVP race between Shohei Ohtani of the Angels and Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. And I thought it was kind of an interesting insight that he had. So let's watch this if it loads.
Shohei Ohtani is just on a whole another level. Smart hitter. The whole MVP thing, I played golf with a couple buddies yesterday.
What did they say about it?
It's split right down the middle. Yeah. They feel like Ohtani shouldn't be penalized for being phenomenal in both. But on the flip side, I feel like Aaron Judge, for me, has been the most valuable player. I think the essence of the award is not best player. It's most valuable player. Maybe that's Ohtani in your world.
So I think that's a really interesting thing to say. To say that the MVP does not necessarily mean the best player. Because it's easy to see it as synonymous. You know, most valuable player, best player is kind of the same thing, right? But I think what DeRosa is saying is that there's a slight distinction there. Like, if you are a valuable player, it means that you can really take your team to the playoffs. You're more valuable to your team than another player who might just be a great player overall, but doesn't necessarily add value in the same way. And I don't know, it's a distinction that I'm still thinking about, but I kind of want to look at these stats here because I'm interested in this MVP race. There's nothing else to be interested in as far as baseball is concerned because my team, the Cubs, is not in the playoff hunt. So here we got Shohei Ohtani. For those of you who don't know, he's a hitter and pitcher. He's like on his own planet because no one does this in baseball. No one hits and pitches, but he does. So here's our stats with hitting. Shohei has 29 homers, 79 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, is batting .267 with an on-base percentage of .359. Those are pretty solid numbers hitting-wise, and that's just hitting. So let's look at what he's doing pitching. He's 11-8 with a 2.67 ERA. He's got 176 strikeouts in only 128 innings. And that's a very good strikeout rate. That's more than a strikeout per inning he's averaging. So those are pretty crazy stats. I mean, I don't know how you beat that. But here's Aaron Judge. He's having a ridiculous season. He just hit his 50th home run of the year last night. He has 50 home runs and he has 110 RBIs. He's batting .294 and his on-base percentage is .396. So that means he gets on base about 40% of the time, which is very good. He doesn't pitch. You know, he's just a hitter. Aaron Judge is on a playoff team, the New York Yankees, and Shohei Ohtani is not on a playoff team. He's on the Los Angeles Angels, and they're not doing so well. So how do we make this call for MVP? Who really is the most valuable player? I'm not really sure. I'm not really credible enough to make this call, but I find it really hard to give it to someone other than Shohei Ohtani. And I know he just won it last year, so I think there's like a natural bias to want to give it to someone else when someone has already won the MVP. But I mean, come on, like Ohtani, he's ridiculous, man. He's a great pitcher. He's a great hitter. No one does this. If Ohtani performs like this the next 5 years and he wins the next 5 MVPs, that's just the way it goes. And part of me wants to see the MVP be given to different players as well, but it's really hard not to give it to him. However, I do like to see the MVP award being given to a player that is on a playoff team. It's just more exciting, Like, watch it, assuming like the Yankees, clinch playoff berth and they go to the postseason and maybe they advance sort of far. It's kind of cool to watch the MVP on TV in a nationally televised game when all the lights are on them. It's going to be unfortunate that Ohtani's not going to be in the playoffs, and not all the playoff watchers are going to be able to see this guy perform. And so, like, I'm torn with it because a part of I want to see Judge win it because I want to watch the playoffs and I want to have that peace of mind that I'm watching the most valuable player in Major League Baseball playing right now. But I value fairness, and I want the real MVP, the most valuable player, to win the award. Now, I have feelings about like LeBron James. I don't know how many MVPs he's got, but he should have like at least 5 more than he actually has. And I think it's just because the league was getting tired of giving him the award. But I mean, LeBron James was the best player on the planet for like 10 straight years. I mean, if not more or less, like I don't know how many MVPs he's got, like 4 maybe not even, but it's kind of ridiculous that the MVP was given to other players. I think there's just this natural tendency that we want to give the MVP. We want to spread it around. If there's a player that's having like a surprisingly amazing year, we kind of want to give it to him. D Rose back in the day had that crazy season. And like you look at the numbers and it's not really obvious that he should have been the MVP, and maybe that's a debate for another day. But I think, people wanted to give it to D Rose. I'm not saying they were wrong to give it to him necessarily, but I'm saying, it was cool for like a guy who hadn't won it before to be given the MVP, and a guy who's actually like, I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", I don't know, like a smaller guy to win it, a point guard. So, I don't know. There's a lot of factors that come into play. We want to believe that we're super objective when we give people the MVP, but is it really true? I don't really know if I have more to say about that whole, like, most valuable and best player distinction. I'm still kind of trying to understand what DeRosa was trying to say. I'd be interested to hear him kind of expand on what he meant by that. But yeah, I don't really know who I would give it to. I kind of lean toward giving it to Ohtani because I'm aware of this kind of natural bias we have of wanting to give it to someone else. I do want the MVP to be on a good team though. That's hard, when the Angels aren't going to the playoffs. What's even their record? I don't really know, but they're not really good. They're like the Cubs, The Cubs aren't doing very well. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say. I watched the Cub game tonight. I think it's tonight. We'll see how that goes. But thanks for tuning in.